राधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So I'm very, very happy to be amongst all of you students to study along with you the Upadesh Amrita. So today is the introduction class. We will begin. There is a lot of bass in the sound and not so clear. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is it better? Yeah. Fine. Yeah. It's Hare Krishna. Yeah. Okay. Good. So today is the introduction, and we will begin by singing one bhajan. Somebody can play the kartal. Is the mridanga here? Some people knows to play the mridanga. Kinchan Prabhuji, we don't need this presenter view. What do we do? Because that sometimes causes trouble. Yeah? What do we do? Presenter this one? No, the presenter view comes. Just you say about extend. Huh? Yeah. Correct. Then I can swap. Yeah. So this is the bhajan. But I could not show him. What do we do? We should move to slideshow. Slideshow. It's here also, no slideshow. Yes, go with this. Yeah. Okay. So this is a bhajan by Narottam Das Thakur. Gauranga Bolite Ame. We will discuss about this song because this is very much connected to to the preface which we are going to discuss. And I'll explain the song once we sing the song. Gauranga bolite nabe ulaka sharira Hari Hari bolite nayane babe nira Auranga bolite ulaka sharira Arka vanita chale karuna hoive samsara vasana mura kabe tuchave Vishaya chariya kame Judah beman Abe hama heri bo Shri Vrindavan Visha Upara Konanda Vipaya Hote Abe hamu kalapari Pratana karo sada narutam Unaga sharira Hari Hari Boli se Nayane Babenira Unaga sharira Hari Hari Bole Nayane Babenir Azar. Hari Hari Bole Nayane Babenir Azar. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare. The beautiful song written by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, and it comes in the Pradhana, the songbook. And this is one of the first songs composition of Narottam Das Thakur. And the entire summary of the whole Krishna conscious movement, right from the lowest stage till the highest stage of transcendental stage of attaining Radha and Krishna, is explained in this one song. Gauranga Bolite Have. Gauranga Bolite Have Pulaka Sharira. Srila Prabhupada has given a talk on this song. One of the symptoms or the qualifications of a founder Acharya is that not only he has to comment on the Prasthanatraya, we'll come to what is Prasthanatraya, but he should also comment on the songs. He should give his commentaries. So Prabhupada has many of the songs he has explained the meanings. So we should read this Prabhupada's explanation. So Prabhupada explains, Gauranga Bolite. When will the day come when I just say Gauranga? What happens? The first ecstatic symptoms. Pulaka Sharira. This is the first sign of ecstatic symptoms which manifest in the body. It's not that immediately, you take the name of Gauranga and it will happen. No. At a particular time, at a particular stage, the moment you take Gauranga, then what will happen? Pulaka Sharira. And we have put here His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj picture because all Jayapatak Maharaj, when he begins his Kirtan, especially the Jaya Radha Mata, then he starts what chanting? Gauranga, 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 Gauranga. So when this day comes, then what happens? Then when you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hari Hari Bolite, then the next symptoms appear. Nayane Babe. So that means the heart has transformed. The real transformation has occurred. The transformation of the heart. Tadasmasaram Hridaya Padedam, as in the Bhagavad Gita mentioned. So, Habe means when will that day come? Kabe Habe se dinamar, like that. And then, when I chant the name of Gauranga, then I chant the holy name, tears of ecstasy will come in my eyes. So that is why we chant the Panchatattva mantra. And by chanting the Panchatattva mantra, because there are no offenses, in relation to the Panchatattva mantra. So it is expected that we chant the Panchatattva mantra and go into ecstasy. Please try to understand. We chant the Panchatattva mantra and go into ecstasy and continue to chant the Hare Krishna mantra so that we don't commit offenses. Because there is consideration of offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. There are 10 offenses. And the root of offenses is inattention while chanting. So it is expected that you chant the Panchatattva mantra, and even if you commit offense in the Panchatattva mantra, it doesn't matter because there is no consideration of offenses. But there is consideration of offense in the Hare Krishna mantra. So ultimately, when you come to this point, Pulaka Sharira, and then you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, that means you have come to the point in your chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra where you are free from the offenses. And that's when the real transformation comes. So this is the elevated stage where we have to reach. And we are now where? Samsara Vasana Mora Kabe Tusha. We are caught in the samsara vasanas. And we can be only freed when we take the shelter of Nitai Chandler. Arakaba Nitai Chandler Karuna Vive. Nitai Chandler refers to Baldev. Baldev is Adi Guru or the spiritual master. So Bala Deva. Bala means spiritual strength. Deva means he's a supreme lord. So when we take shelter of Balaram or the spiritual master, and then by the mercy of the spiritual master, samsara vasana mora tuchya. So all the impressions of vasanas from unlimited lifetimes, many lifetimes, they're all completely, that means there's no material attraction to the material world. So that will happen by taking shelter of the spiritual master. That means completely surrendered to the spiritual. Then what happens? Vishaya Chariya ya Chadiya should be, I think. Kabe Shuddha Hobe Man. Kabe Hama Haribo Sri Vrindavan. So only when the chitta, the heart is completely pure. Shuddha hobe man. Then we can actually see the transcendental Vrindavan. Vrindavan or Navdeep or Jagannath Puri are 100% spiritual. What? They are 100% spiritual. But you cannot see them as long as even a tinge of material desire is there in our heart. So that is why Vishaya Charya Kabe Shuddha Hove. Kabe Ema Haribo Shri Vrinda. So this is the stage. We are caught in Vishaya Vasana. Take shelter of the spiritual master, Nityananda Prabhu. And then all the Vishaya Vasanas will go away. And then the mind will become pure. And then you will be able to see transcendental Vrindavan. And then when you say Vrindavan, what we have to do? Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hobe Akuti. Akuti means eagerness. When will I be eager to take shelter of Rupa Raghunath? So we are going to take shelter of Rupa Raghunath by studying his works in the form of Udeshamrit. And then as a part of Bhakti Shastri, we will be studying Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Kabe Hama Bujabo Sehi Yugala Preeti. We'll elaborate this when we go to the preface mode. But when will I be eager to take shelter of Rupa and Raghunath, and then I'll be able to understand the loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Yugala Pariti. And then Narottam Das Thakur says, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rahomorash. My desire is to be at the shelter of Rupa and Raghunath. Pratana Koro Sada Narottam Das. And I'm always praying Sada. Pratna Karo Sada. He's also a student here. The youngest student, what's your name? Mukund. Mukund. Okay. So we'll begin our discussion on the Udesh Amrit. Today we'll begin with the preface. I have a particular methodology by which we go through the discussion. I hope you all have the hard copy of Udesh Amrit. Everyone has? Yeah? You don't have? So please buy one.
So she's saying that today our exams will also. We gave her the exams.
So the class is also there. Oh, you forgot the book.
Forward the class.
Interesting. So you have the book and please have also a pencil to mark. And we are studying this Updeshamrit. How many of you have previously read the Updeshamrit? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Most of them read few. How many are going to read for the first time here with us? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me tell you about my experience. Okay. So in 2005, I first time picked up this book. And in 2006, His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj was teaching us Deshamrit. And on the preface, just on one statement, advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. Based on this one statement, the class went on for 6 days. Every day, 1 hour, we are just discussing this one statement. So Maharaj that time made a comment, or I gave an instruction. He said that every year once you should read the Updeshamrit book. Every year once. And now you all know that I have a little legal background. I have been into handling a lot of litigations. So I've been a voracious reader. I said, this is such a small book. Every year once. I can read it in one day. 1 hour you can read this book. It's not much. 2 hours maximum you need to read this book. Right? I said, I just could not digest that statement. But yet I followed Maharaj's instruction, and every year I made a note. 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And after that, I could not read every year. But in 2021, I started teaching Updeshamrit. And by 2023, 6 times I taught the Updeshamrit, Bhakti Shastri. In 2 years, I taught 6 batches. And in the sixth teaching, some kind of insight I was able to understand what is there in Updeshamrit. So I'm preparing you all. Don't think that just by attending now Bhakti Shastri classes on Updeshamrit and writing your exam and getting your degree, you will be able to penetrate into Updeshamrit or even Bhakti Samrit Sindhu or Bhagavad Gita or Isha Upanishads. So there are different levels of study of Sri Updeshamrit. One is to read Updeshamrit. You just read it. The second is you actually study the Updeshamrit. And then when you attend a systematic course on Updeshamrit and then you start reading or you start studying, sorry, then you start going into a little deeper. So that's at the Bhakti Shastri level of your study of Updeshamrit. And then there is a Bhakti Vaibhav level of study of Updeshamrit. And then there is another higher level also. So we will be studying all these three levels now. The beginner's level, the Bhakti Shastri level, and even the Bhakti Vaibhav level. Within these 2 weeks, I will just give some hints and insights from the Bhakti level perspective also. So I have completely put in the slides the entire book. Okay. Every statement we are going to analyze. And you can mark. And no need to take any notes which is there on the PPT. I will share all this PPT in the group and you can have the PPTs. But if I am writing something on the PPT, how to do that, you'll have to explain me because with this setup, we cannot do that. I have that, but you'll have to come out of this presenter view. So if I am writing something, then you can note down that because that is not part in the PPT, right? Maybe after class. No, but I'll have to write now. Yeah, I cannot. I don't want to get out and use the board. It's not practical. I have that. Okay, so that's the first thing. Secondly, I will be, pen is there, I think, in the room. Secondly, I will discuss certain few points and then open the forum for question answers, interactive. You can ask questions. Now, questions should be strictly, it is 3, this one, no, this is where, right? Is it this one? No, no, no. So please understand this is very important and it's very difficult for students or anyone to little follow this because It requires certain level of patience. You can ask questions only with respect to the discussion and the context which is being discussed. If you have some future questions which are troubling, which always trouble us, we are always worried of the future and lamenting about the past. So our questions are always going back and forth between Raga and Dvesha. But stay in the present. That will come up. When it comes up, we will take it up there. So ask only questions with respect to the context. And that's how we'll go in the discussion. So anything which I'm writing on the board, I'm using directly the screen as a board. That you can note down. Otherwise, no need to note down. Whatever is there, how to change this, we'll have to do. Window. Sorry. Move it to duplicate. Okay. And then try writing all this. No, this I can write, but then I need not show the presenter view. Yeah, no presenter view. But then this is okay. Yep. The other slides are clean, here. This is. You can reduce the size. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Is this clear? Are you able to see all of the screen? Okay. Okay. So we'll begin the discussion. But here you cannot write now again. Okay. There is I think there is some, I am not so good at here. There's a whiteboard also option, but it will be no difference. Yeah, there is something. You want to make same thing? No, I don't want this to come because then I cannot write. You can put a duplicate slideshow. Maybe then I can write. Touch. Yeah. Okay. Done. Yeah. Okay. So we begin with the Updeshamrita. Now, before going to the preface, Upadesha Amrit. Sri Rupa Goswami in Upadesha Amrit in Nectar of Instruction within 11 verses takes us from preliminary stages of bhakti to the highest stages of bhakti. So just imagine this one small book within 11 verses. It will take you from the material world, Bhava Samsara, and take you to Radha. And we'll come to that when we come to the 10th and 11th verse. How unique is this composition of Rupa Goswami? No other work of Rupa Goswami can be compared to Deshamrit because he has not revealed the Prayojan in most of his works except this work. So that is how Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrit is. So Upadesha, Amritam. Now, in Sanskrit, especially in Sanskrit and especially in Rasa Tattva, every word you speak, there is a particular mood which is called as bhava. Okay. When I say, hey, come in, what is my mood? Huh? I'm in the mood of ordering, right? So that is, that is a different mood. So similarly, there are 13 such moods. How many? 13. And these are called as Vachika Bhavas. They are what? Vachika. Vachika means you understand, right? In the speech. Okay. And they are part of a particular bhav called as Vyabhichari Bhav, which is explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay. I'll give you some examples. Like just now, I had this tone when I spoke. Hey, come here. Huh? So this is called as Adesh. This is called as what? Adesh. You're giving instruction in the form of orders, in the mode of a controller, right? Right? So now you'll all recognize, when devotees speak, from their speech, you can sense what mood they are speaking. But you have to understand the science of Rasa Tattva. So there are 13 such, what? Vyabhichari bhavs, which are Vachika. So one I explained Adesh. You could be able to follow Adesh, right? Then there is Sandesh. So not the Sandesh sweet which we eat. Sandesh. Where have you come across the Sandesh? Huh? Where?
Like letters like Sunday.
Sandesh, Uddhav Sandesh is that Krishna sent his love message to the gopis of Vrindavan. That is Sandesh. So, Upadesh, Adesh, Sandesh, uh, like that, there are 13 such different moods. And Rup Goswami has titled this as Upadesh Amrit because I'll come to the reason a little later. Because it is a very intimate mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving instructions, just like a lover gives to the beloved. That is Upadesh Amrit. And we'll come to this history a little later. I'll show the slides. Okay, so that is Upadesh Amrit. Okay. Now coming to the overview. So the nectar of instruction, Upadesh Amrit, 11 verses, can be analyzed from different perspectives. From the perspective of Uttama Bhakti, you have not yet studied Upadesha Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, right? Not yet, no? You have finished now Ishopanishads, Bhagavad Gita, 6 chapters?
Chapters.
2 chapters. Oh, you are still in the beginnings stages. So, Uttama Bhakti definition has to be clearly understood. Uttama Bhakti means Shuddha Bhakti. Now, this Shuddha Bhakti has twofold divisions, which is called as Sadhana Bhakti and Sadhya Bhakti. Please remember, Sadhana Bhakti is also Shuddha Bhakti. Even within Sadhana Bhakti, there is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. And even Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is also Shuddha Bhakti. Okay. And within Sadhya Bhakti, there are two divisions, Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. Now, actually, there are only two divisions, Sadhana Bhakti and Sadhya Bhakti. But yet, Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu explains that Sadhya Bhakti has to be divided into two stages, Bhava and Prema. Bhava is not categorized as Sadhya Bhakti. Please remember now this, try to understand this. But the goal of sadhana bhakti is bhava bhakti. The goal of sadhana bhakti is what? Bhava bhakti. This will come in the definition of, I think you will not be studying the verse to verse. There it will come. Kriti sadhyat bhave sadhyam. Sa sadhana vidha. Kriti sadhya means engaging the senses, sadhana bhakti, sadhya bhava. To attain bhava. Sa sadhana vidha. That is called as sadhana bhakti. So, by sadhana bhakti, you attain what? Bhava bhakti. But why bhava bhakti is not classified as sadhya? Because in bhava bhakti also there are anarthas in the form of aparats. You know. So only in prema bhakti one is free from complete anarthas. So that's why There is a distinction made. So the entire Upadesh Amrit can be divided into, the first 7 verses deal with Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And one verse, 8th verse, deals with Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. In one verse, just see the geniusness of Rupa Goswami. Just in one verse, he has defined the entire Raganuga process. And when we come to the 8th verse, we'll understand how deep is that verse. And then 9, 10, and 11 speak about Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. Of course, there is no, clear demarcation as to which verse speaks about Bhava Bhakti and which verse speaks about Prema Bhakti. But when we go to the verses, we will point out, we will give a little hint, it will become very clear. So please remember this now, that we will point out which is referring to Bhava Bhakti verse and which is referring to Prema Bhakti. Okay. So that's how the classification is done based on Uttama. So this is analysis of the 11 verses based on the definition of pure devotional service, Uttama Bhakti. Now, metamorphically, the Upadesh Amrit is like a garland of verses. Rupa Goswami composed what is called as the Stava Mala. Okay, so just like in the garland, on one side you have flowers, and the other side there are flowers. In the center there is one more flower, right? So similarly, in the necklace, there are one side pearls, other side also there are pearls, and in center there is what? What is called as a pendant, right? So verses 1 to 7 are one side of the pearls, and the other side of the verses are 9, 10, and 11, and the pendant is the verse number 8. Verse number 8, which is speaking about Raganuga Bhakti. Okay. Now, are you all doing okay up till now? Do you have any questions?
Sir, it was very good.
You have to raise your hands if you have to ask questions. Is there a mic there? Another mic is there? Yes, Mataji. What's your name?
Maybe it's Aditya Vrind.
Huh?
Aditya Vrind.
Advitiya Vrinda.
Yes.
Okay.
I was saying that slide which you presented was very confusing to me. Yes, I really did not understand anything. Like except slides.
Verses 1 to 7 are dealing with Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Verse 8 is dealing with Raganuga Bhakti. 9, 10, and 11 are dealing with Sadhya Bhakti, which is Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti.
Like when you were relating to it, like Sadhana Bhakti, why it is not falling as a Bhakti, that part. Like I got it, but it did not go into my head.
So don't worry about it for now. Okay? Only you have to understand there is Sadhana Bhakti and Sadhya Bhakti. Okay? Means and end. Okay? By practicing Sadhana Bhakti, we attain Bhava Bhakti. We don't directly attain Prema. Bhava is the intermediate between sadhana and prema. Okay? Is it clear for now?
Yes.
Any other questions anyone else has? Yes, Mataji. You can take the mic.
Do we have to right now understand what those different bhakti levels are, or that would be
No, that is part of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We'll have to study it in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We cannot go into this Uttama Bhakti definition. You'll have to study it when you study Nectar devotion. Okay? We will be touching upon it, but we cannot go into the detailed definitions of Uttama Bhakti. Okay? So this is most important for us to remember. Vaidhi Bhakti is verses 1 to 7. You can mark in your table of contents if you want in the book. 1 to 7 verses speak about Vaidhi Bhakti. 8th verse speaks about, you can mark like an arrow, like a column. 1 to 7 speak about Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Verse 8 speaks about Raganuga Bhakti. Then you can make another bracket. 1 to 8 is again what? Sadhana Bhakti. Okay. And then you make 9, 10, 11 as Bhava and Prema Bhakti. And the whole thing, 1 to 11, outer bracket will be what? Uttama Bhakti. Did you get it clearly? Is it clear how to mark? Yes. Is it clear or no? Okay. Okay. Now, I mentioned that Updeshamrit verses are analyzed from different perspective. We saw one perspective, which is from the definition of Shuddha Bhakti. Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written a commentary on Updeshamrit, which is called as the Piyush Vartini Tika. There he has analyzed the verses of Updeshamrit and analyzed each of the verses. And we will be studying our Updeshamrit based on his analysis. Okay? And we will regularly go through this, so you'll understand it. Every verse we will be discussing this. Now, for brief, I'll explain. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the first verse, Vacho Vegam, he says, Tridandi Swamir Lakshan. The first verse is what? Tridandi Swamir Lakshan. That means what? Symptoms of a Tridandi Swami. Sannyasi means, we have a different conception. Not only one who is having the sannyas danda, but one who is what? Completely control the urges. So he can be a brahmachari, he can be a grahastha also. It doesn't matter. Are you getting this? Three danda stands for what? Kaya, manasa and vacha. If somebody has control, then he's like that. Okay, you have to understand it. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, self-controlled madhyam adhikari symptoms. Atma sanyami madhyam adhikari ke lakshan. So the first verse, interestingly, is what? It is a symptom of a Tridandi sannyasi as well as a self-controlled madhyam adhikari. This you have to understand now. Now I'll give you an example to understand this. How many of you have flown a jet, fighter jet plane? No, no? Nobody, no? Yeah. If you're supposed to sit on it and you're given the control, what will happen to us, right? So when you start learning, especially to, maneuver a fighter jet, you need a lot of training, right? And then after a lot of training from experts, you can take control over the jet. You can maneuver as you want. And that is not it. After that, you should become more expert so that you can take control over other fighter jets by shooting the enemy fighter jets, right? That's the highest level of training. So similarly, Atma Sanyami Madhyam Adhikari Lakshan means one who can control his own urges. One who becomes self-controlled. But Tridandi Swami Lakshan means further advancing. He is not only able to control his own urges, but he is able to control others. The disciples who surrender to him, because he has that strength and potency, and because he has prema, they follow the instructions and they are able to control their senses. Just like a fighter jet pilot is not only able to control his own fighter plane, but he's able to destroy the enemy fighter planes. So here, in the case of a, Sarvam Apimam Prithvim Sa Shishya. So out of prema, the devotees offer respects to such a sannyasi or a tridandi. And thereby, what happens? They come under his regulation. So that is the lakshan of a Tridandi service. So that's the difference between the two. But first, you have to become a Atma Sanyami Madhyamadhikari or a self-controlled Madhyamadhikari symptoms. Okay. I hope this is clear. Now, text verse 2, 3, and 4 speak about Madhyamadhikari Goswami's external dealings and bhakti rules. Now, interestingly, I began discussing how this Deshamrit, how many times you have to study? In a year? Once. And you have to keep on studying like this till you actually come to the point of what? Self-control Madhyamadhikari symptoms. That means you are able to what? Control all your urges. That is when you actually enter into Updeshamrit. Are you getting this point? Till then, you have to do as a sadhana, read and read and read and practice this. Just like every day we do the sadhana of chanting the holy names. Ultimately, you have to come to the point where we can hear the holy name attentively. It is a abhyas we do, chanting. So similarly, we have to regularly study this and slowly, when we come to the mode of goodness, Prabhupada will explain that. Then, when you're able to control the urges, then you become self-controlled. Then, what happens? You have entered into Sharanagati. You have entered into what? Sharanagati. In Sharanagati, there are two principles. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. Similarly, a Madhyamadhikari, what are his external dealings and what is the bhakti rules? Bhakti pratikul shadgun. What are the shadgun which are pratikul to bhakti? Beginning from atyahara prayasasya. He will, what he will do? As a principle of Sharanagati, he will pratikulasya, what he will do? Varjana. And what are the six bhakti anukul shadgun? He will follow that. Beginning with utsaha nishchay, dhairyat. Okay? And then shad with pritir lakshana. What are the six symptoms of loving exchanges? So this is what a Madhyamadhikari follows in his external dealings and what is bhakti rules he follows. Are you able to understand this? Any questions you have on this? Because in Updeshamrit, we are going to spend major time only discussing these four verses. If you can understand these four verses and start implementing on these four verses, you have done. The first four verses are most important. Major time we'll be spending studying the four verses. The remaining else is all bouncer for us. Of course, fifth and sixth is very important. Seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, not necessary. First four verses, very important for us to understand. So did you get this? What is Bhakti Pratikul Shadgun, Bhakti Anukul Shadgun, and Bhakti Shadvidya Priti Lakshan? How, in what context, this analysis is done of the first four verses? Did you understand it? Do you have any questions on this? Of course, each verse when we are discussing, I will again be coming to it. Okay, now what happens is when the Madhyamadhikari follows these external rules of bhakti and his dealings, so by this activities, the external has an effect on the internal. So the internal vision development begins of the Madhyamadhikari. And as a result of the internal development, verses 5, 6, 7, and 8 speak about Madhyamadhikari Goswami's vision and internal development. So his internal vision and his internal development of bhakti begins. So text 5, Krishneti, refers to Madhyam Adhikari Trivid Vaishnav Sevan. It is only a Madhyam Adhikari who can recognize who is a Kanishta and who is a Uttam. Are you getting this point? It's only a Madhyam Adhikari who can recognize. Kanishta recognizes everyone as a Vaishnava. He can't discriminate. The Mahabhagavad, the Uttama, he considers everyone as Vaishnava, but he is not a Vaishnava, he thinks. So both cannot, we cannot understand their dealings. But only a Madhyama can distinguish who is a Kanishta and who is a Uttama. And based on that, he will deal appropriately. So, Madhyam Adhikari Trivid Vaishnav Sevan. So, only one who is able to distinguish can properly serve. So, that is because of his internal vision development. And this internal vision development has happened because of what? Because of the Madhyam Adhikari's external dealing and bhakti rules which has got. So, that's why I told the first 4 verses are very important for us to implement. And then, with this dealings, his drishti, his vision also changes. So, aprakrita Vaishnava, prakrit drishti, nishedh. Aprakrita Vaishnava. Aprakrita Vaishnava means what? Raise your hands. Aprakrita Vaishnava means what? Okay. Prakrita means what? Huh? Pardon? Prakriti. What does it mean?
Natural, which is like
Oh, Prakriti or Sabhakta Prakrita Smrita, it is mentioned. No? Archayame eva hare, Srimad Bhagavatam verse. Materialistic devotee. Prakrita Vaishnava. You have not come across this term? Prakrita Vaishnava? So, Prakrita means a Kanishta Adhikari or a materialistic devotee. And Aprakrita means what? He is not material, he is what? Completely spiritual. That means he is a Mahabhagat. So, Aprakrita Vaishnava, that means a Uttam Adhikari. Prakrita Drishti, Nishedh. Seeing an advanced devotee from a material perspective. Nishedh. Nishedh means it is forbidden. So I was explaining you what only a Madhyam Adhikari can distinguish who is a Uttam and who is a Kanishta. And he can deal with the Kanishta and the Uttama. But while dealing with the Uttama, while the Madhyama is dealing with the Uttama, the Kanishta is dealing with the Uttama is not a problem. In one sense. They will not commit this offense generally in the beginning stages. Again, let me clarify. But as familiarity will bring. But the Madhyama, who is very advanced, for him this warning is given not to see a Uttamadhikari from a material perspective. It will become very clear when we go to the verses and we'll discuss in detail. Okay, now I'm just giving an overview. Please try to understand. And then only when he becomes free from this offense of seeing a Vaishnava from a material. Basically, it means Vaishnava Aparadha. Not to commit any Vaishnava Aparadha in one's dealings. The moment you're free from all offenses, then you start getting what? Taste in the holy name. So, text 7 speaks about it. Syat Krishnamadi, Pitopitasya, na ruchikanu, kintu adara anudinam, swatvi kramat. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, this verse speaks about avidya vinash, O Krishna me Anushlenar Pranali. How avidya is destroyed, avidya vinash, and in Krishna name, in the holy name. How we should, avidya gets destroyed by chanting the holy name. The methodology. Pranali means what? Methodology. So systematic method is given in verse 7. We'll go to that time. And then when you start getting ruchi in your chanting, then you become attached to Vrindavan Dham. And wherever you are in the world, you are chanting, but you are chanting where? In Vrindavan Dham. That is the point you have to come to. So, text 8, Tannam, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Shri Vraj Bhajan Pranali. What is the pranali or the methodology of doing Vraj Bhajan? So that is text 8. So this is the Madhyamadikari Goswami's vision and internal development. Okay. And then 9 and 10. Text 9, Vaikunta Janito. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Bhajaniya Sthala Madhye Sarvashresh. There are many places of bhajan in this Bharat Bhumi. We are referring to India now. There are many holy places. There is Badrikashram, there is Kurukshetra, there are so many other places. But Bhajaniya Sthala Madhye Sarvashresh, which is the topmost place. Which is the most worshipable place. And then Bhajanakari Madhye Sarvashresh. Among those who are performing bhajan, who are the topmost devotees? So these two are in 9 and 10. And then the last verse, the glory of Radha Kunda is there. Radha Kunda Snana Saubhagya Parakashta. The topmost holy place in the entire universe is Radha Kunda. Okay. So that is the overview of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's analysis of the Upadeshamrit. And we will be studying Srila Prabhupada's Upadeshamrit line by line based on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's analysis of the verses. So I will be going into each verse and explaining as we study each of the text. Okay. So any questions you have up till now? Okay. Now, how many perspectives you have seen up till now of Upadeshamrit? Overview. How many perspectives we have seen? The first one was based on?
External meanings and bhakti books.
No.
Remembrance one.
Pardon?
Remembrance one.
No. See, please understand my question. There are different perspectives of studying the 11 verses of Upadeshamrit. We have presented how many now?
Sir.
Raise your hands first. Okay, yeah.
Sir.
Based on Uttama Bhakti definition. Based on Uttama Bhakti definition, the 11 verses of Upadeshamrit we saw, right? 1 to 7 Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, 8 is Radhanaga Sadhana, 9, 10 and 11 is Bhava and Prema. And the entire 11 verses are what Bhakti? Uttama Bhakti. And then we studied based on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's analysis. The first is what? Tridandi Swami Lakshan. Second, third, fourth is what? Madhyamadikari's external dealings and bhakti rules. And 5, 6, 7 and 8 is what? Internal development. Vision and internal development. And 9 and 10 is the best place and the best devotee. And 11th is the glory of taking bath in Radha. Okay. Now, as I was mentioning, this book looks very small, but it's deep like an ocean. Now, this analysis, the third one, which we are going to study now briefly, we might not get it easily, but over a period of time as you study, we will not be studying according to this analysis, but I'm just giving you some hint. There is another analysis of Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his work Bhajan Rahasya. So in Bhajan Rahasya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that the living being is in 4 types of anarthas. Asatrishna, Hridaya Daurbalya, Aparad, and Tattva Vibhrama. These are the 4 anarthas. All of you repeat Asatrishna, Hridaya Daurbalya, Aparad, and Tattva Vibhrama. You need not note this, we'll give you the slides, okay? Now, within each of these 4, there are 4 divisions more. Asat Trishna means what? Desire for material objects, desire for heavenly comforts, desire for mystic powers, and desire for liberation. Mukti Kama. You know? And Hridaya Daurbalya means miserliness of the heart. That the heart is tuchya asakti. There are frivolous attachments to things not related to Krishna. So this is tuchya. And then there is putinati. Putinati is what? Deceitfulness or fault finding. And there is matsarya, envy, jealousy. And then there is desire for pain, pratishtha. So these are the hridaya dampalya, the weakness of the heart. And in aparad, there is namaprad, which we know. Then there is seva aparad, in deity worship. There is vaishnava aparad, and there is jivhamsa aparad. And there's the 5th one you have to add. What is that? 5th one you have to add, because you're all here.
Dham.
Dham aparad. You have to be very careful about dham aparad here in the dham. Dham aparad. So these are the 4. And then Tattva Vibhrama. Vibhrama means illusion of spiritual knowledge. So what is Tattva Vibhrama? Swatattva Brahma. Illusion of one's own identity. Paratattva Brahma. Illusion about the identity of the Supreme Personality of God. And then Sadhana Brahma. You don't know Sadhana Tattva clearly. If you don't know Sadhana Tattva, then you will not attain Sadhya. Illusion about the process of sadhana. And Sadhya Brahma. Illusion about Prema Bhakti. Okay. So just imagine by studying Updeshamrit, all these anarthas from the heart will go away. This is the beauty of one book, Updeshamrit. So, verses 1 and 2 will make you free from Asatrishna. By controlling the Vedas and becoming free from, Bhakti Pratikul, you'll become free from all these Asatrishna. And Hridaya Daurbalya, especially verse 4, Shanvita Priti Lakshana. By, we have this, we all know that, right? If we have something we like, I'm just taking an example, simple example of prasad. We like it, we want to have it, but if we can give it to others and let others first have it, and if it remains, then I will take. So by that you become what? Freedom from the weakness of the heart, of attachment for greed and all these things. So the Hridaya Daurbalya is being taken care by in verses 3, 4 and 5. And then Aparad. Aparad is dealt especially why we commit offenses, because we can't control the Vedas. So by controlling the Vedas, we become free from offenses. 6th verse will also deal with, not to commit offense to a Mahabhagat, Aprakrita Vaishnava, Prakrit Drishti Nisheth. The 7th verse, not to commit offense to Na, while chanting the Na. So like that, offenses are taken care of, verses 6, 1, 6 and 7. And Tattva Vibhrama, the entire Updeshamrit, 1 to 11. In fact, by studying the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and these two books, Updeshamrit and Bhakti Rasamrita, all the Tattva, Brahma should go away. So that's how all this Hridaya Daurbalya is taken care. Okay. So we have completed now the discussion of Updeshamrit. So before we begin the preface, do you have any questions till now? Any questions, any clarifications? Yes, Mataji.
How does the verses remove these impurities?
That you might not understand now. Keep on reading, keep on applying it, and slowly, slowly it will happen. I just give you a hint that if you know, control the urges, vegas, then you will not commit offenses. Basically, we commit offenses because we can't control the urges, and we commit offenses. So by following the instructions of Upanishad, slowly you become free from aparadhas. Similarly is the Satrishna. And the Hridaya Daurbalya, yes, we can practically see that Hridaya Daurbalya, especially text 4. Text 4 helps to become free from Hridaya Daurbalya. Okay. So of course there are other verses which Bhajan Rahasya mentions. For Tattva Vibhrama, he says, understanding the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam makes us free from Tattva Vibhrama. And understanding Raghunath Das Goswami's Manashiksha makes us free from Hridaya Daurbalya, Anarthas. But of course, Deshamrit also, these verses help us in becoming free from Hridaya Daurbalya. Is it okay? Fine. Okay. Now we begin with the preface. Okay, you can take out your book. Yeah. You all have the books, right? Now, what we are going to do is we are trying to understand Srila Prabhupada's preface. Now, any book, generally, a book always has a preface, an introduction, then there is a table of contents, and then there is an actual book, which is based on the table of contents, right? There's a preface, introduction, table of contents, and then book. Before that, there is something called as a foreword, right? Then there can be afterword also. Sometimes there can be an epilogue or a prologue also. Okay. Now, Prabhupada has written a preface to Updeshamrit. And this preface is very, very short, just 4 paragraphs. Now, what is preface? You have to understand. What is preface? Anyone has some idea what is preface? Why is preface written to a book? Any idea? I hope you've come across preface studying Prabhupada books, right? Yes, Mataji.
So we came to know that why we want to read this book so yearly, like it's short.
But why is preface written? What is the purpose of writing a preface?
Just to get the reason to read the book nicely. Over we find.
Okay. Yes,
I
Mataji.
think here we seek the blessings from our previous acharyas.
See, that is in context with, work written by the acharyas. Sai Mangalacharan, Trivida Prakara, Vastu Nirdesh, Namaskar, and Ashirvad. So that is with respect to a literary work. But in the English world, they don't have this kind of asking blessings. So Prabhupada is following, the English world because his books were written in English and they were meant for the whole world. So Prabhupada wrote preface to Bhagavad Gita. He wrote an introduction to Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavatam also he has written preface. He has given an introduction which is the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what is the purpose of writing a preface? So the preface basically is written by the author himself first. And he gives the purpose why he's writing this book. What is the purpose of this book? And it will be revealed. Very brilliant statements of Prabhupada. Okay. Preface is written by the author himself. And what is the purpose in writing the book? And sometimes he might give his history of how he came about writing this book and what is the purpose by which what he wants to give to the audience and all like that. Okay, but Prabhupada doesn't do that in the preface, but I'm just giving you a general. Now that is the preface. Now what is the foreword? A foreword is somebody who is a very famous authority in that line. He reads the book, he does a review, and he gives his review and opinion so that others can also, it's like a form of a marketing strategy. So that is the foreword. Okay. And there can be afterword also. Afterword is at the end, it comes. Forward comes in the beginning. And what is an introduction? Introduction is written by the author himself. And in the introduction, the author introduces maybe what the whole book contains in summary. Or he might just introduce the beginning of the book itself. Or he might introduce the entire book in summary. That's what is in the introduction. Okay. And then there is a table of contents, and then the entire book is there. So Prabhupada has written only a preface to Updeshamrit. And within his preface, also there is introduction, which we will see now very soon. Okay. So this is the preface to Updeshamrit, and we will now study line by line. So somebody can take the mic and read this first statement. Can start from one side, yeah. Can go around. You can read.
The Krishna consciousness movement is conducted under the supervision of Sri Garupa Goswami.
Yes. You'll all repeat this together. The Krishna conscious movement is conducted under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. Now you all tell us practically. This Krishna conscious movement was started by whom? True. That's true. Can you be more precise now? This Krishna conscious movement was started by whom? Huh? Srila Rupa Goswami. Okay, wait. Hold on. Let's start. How did you come in touch with the Krishna conscious movement? Yes, now you're answering. So practically, if you see the whole Krishna conscious movement is conducted by whom? Srila Prabhupada. We know about Hare Krishna or Krishna conscious movement because we have come in touch with ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON. But Prabhupada is giving credit to whom? Srila Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada in the preface to Bhagavad Gita, as it is what he says, actually this Krishna conscious movement was started by whom he says? Lord Krishna, he says there. It's actually started by Lord Krishna. And Prabhupada says if there is any credit which goes to me is that I have followed the instructions of my spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So actually the Krishna conscious movement is conducted by Srila Rupa Goswami. Because the principal follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Rupa Goswami. It was Rupa Goswami through Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mano Krishna. Stapitam yena bhutale. Swayam rupa kadamayam dadati swapadantikam. So we all know this pastime from the Chaitanya Charitamrita during the Rath Yatra. Rath Yatra is happening now. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while pulling the cart, he spoke some few Sanskrit verses which nobody could understand except Swarup Damodar. And it was speaking about a lover and beloved, and nobody, why Mahaprabhu was speaking these verses? Nobody could understand. But Rupa Goswami understood. And Rupa Goswami composed a very similar verse. And he put it on his roof thatch and he went to take bath. By the time Mahaprabhu came and took darshan of Jagannath and came to meet Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami also came seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he offered his dandavats and he saw this verse and he was surprised. How did you understand my heart? Actually, first he slapped Rupa Goswami, out of love, it's anger and love. And then Haridas Thakur said, because he has got your mercy, you have empowered him. Shri Rupa Sakti Sancharila. Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Pran, Sabashikaila Prabhu, Bhagavata Siddhant. In the Bhakti Rasamrita, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Leela 19th chapter, which is Rup Shiksha, Kaviraj Goswami says Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, and Rasa Tattva. Prant. Prant means what? Complete acme or pinnacle. Mahaprabhu taught. And Shri Rupa Hridaya Sancharila. And he empowered Rupa Goswami. And through Rupa Goswami, he established the Manobishtam of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is why we are all followers of whom? Rupa Goswami. Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Pranam. What does it say? Shri Rupa Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harini. That is the purpose. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. And in the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Pranam Mantra, what is that? Rupanuga Varayate. He is the best of the followers of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami. So, all the acharyas in the Guru Shishya Parampara, if you see, they always conducted their lives based on the teachings of Rupa Goswami. And similarly, Srila Prabhupada is following in that Guru Shishya Parampara. And that's why he is saying that the Krishna conscious movement is conducted under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. Okay. Okay. Meaning of Rupanuga. Now, as I am taking the statements from the preface, if there are some terminologies or some concepts, I will be explaining. I have added them. So, Rupanuga means what? Rupa means Sri Rupa Goswami. Anu means to follow. Ga means to go, gammiti. Rupa Anu Ga. So that means Rupanuga. That's how we come to the word Rupanuga. Okay. So I spoke this verse. Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. So this verse is actually in the Prema Bhakti Chandrika. Okay. There's a beautiful verse glorifying Rupa Goswami by Sri Kavi Karanpur in the Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak. Priya Swarupe Daita Swarupe Prema Swarupe Sahajabirupe Nijanurupe Prabhure Karupe Tatanurupe Swanila Sarupe. Indeed, Srila Rupa Goswami, whose dear friend was Sarup Damodar, Priya Swarupe. So Priya Swarupe means he is very dear to Sarup Damodar. Was the exact replica of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa Goswami was the exact replica of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prema Swarupe. And he was very, very dear to the Lord. Daita Swarupe. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in the Kanti of Srimati Radharani, Kanti and Bhava. So he was carrying that prema. Similarly, Rupa Goswami was carrying that from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that is why what he was prema swarup. So the beauty of a person is not in the external beauty. The beauty of the person is if he's carrying the Lord in the heart, that prema he is carrying. And His Holiness Bhakti Tit Swami Maharaj had a disciple called as Kubera. Now this disciple, he was physically handicapped and he could not speak and could not hear. And yet he was preaching. And by his preaching, so many people had become devotees. And when he left the world, they had to hire a huge hall. So many people came, to give their last respects to this great soul. And they do not understand the glory of this. Bhakti Tirth Maharaj had aptly given the name as Kuvera because he was carrying the wealth of the Lord in the form of prema. So that's why, because Rup Goswami was carrying that prema in his heart, the love, divine couple love, Radha and Krishna. So that is why he was what? Very similar to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prema Swarupe, exact replica of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being the embodiment of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love, as I mentioned, Sri Rupa Goswami was naturally very beautiful. Sahaja Virupe. So what is the real beauty? Is not the external beauty, but the beauty of the pure love. He very carefully followed the principles enunciated by the Lord, Nijanu Rupe. And he was a competent person to explain Tatana Rupe, properly the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Swavilasa Rupe. That means the pastimes of the Lord. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expanded his mercy to Srila Rupa Goswami. Prabhu Reka Rupe, just so he could render service by writing transcendental literatures. So this is a very beautiful verse defined for Rupa Goswami. And then Kaviraj Goswami composes one verse in the beginning of 19th chapter in the Madhya Leela. This is a Sanskrit verse. All verses are Bengali, but this Vrindavaniya rasake varta khale naluttam nija shakti uttam sanchare rupe vetano manasa prabhur vino pragivano kashmir. Before the creation of this cosmic manifestation, Prag Ivalokshishti, the Lord enlightened the heart of Lord Brahma with the details of the creation and manifested the Vedic knowledge. Punasa Prabhu Vidho. Vidho is Brahma. In exactly the same way, the Lord, being anxious to revive the Vrindavan pastimes of Krishna, impregnated the heart of Rupa Goswami with spiritual potency. Kalena Nuptam Vrindavani Rasakili Vartam Nija Shakti. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us Nija Shakti. Sri Rupa Goswami could revive the activities of Krishna in Vrindavan, activities almost lost to memory. In this way, he spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Who spread the Krishna conscious movement throughout the world? And what is Prabhupada saying here? Rupa Goswami. Because Krishna conscious movement is conducted under supervision of Rupa Goswami. You can see here. See how Prabhupada's mood is. So there's a lot we can speak about Rupa Goswami, but it's there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Please read it. We all know this famous pastime when Prabhupada was staying in Radha Damodar, and the Goswamis came and gave darshan, especially Rupa Goswami, and instructed Prabhupada to go to the Western world to preach. Rupa Goswami personally came and gave darshan, Prabhupada. So That's how Prabhupada then moved with that potency, moved in the Jaldut to spread the Krishna conscious movement. And that's why Prabhupada is giving credit to Rupa Goswami. There are many works of Rupa Goswami, but among them famous is the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Mathura Mahatme, Navadip Suti, Danakeli Kaumudi, Shri Govind Virudali, Shri Lau Bhagavatamrit, Vidag Madhava, Lalit Madhava, Nikunja Rahasyastava, Padyavali, Shri Krishna Janma Titi Vidhi, Shri Radha Krishna Kanodesha Deepika, Tavamala, Ujjvala Neetmani, and Uddhav Sandesh. Where does Updeshamrit come? It's not listed in his works. We study two of the most important books of Rupa Goswami, Updeshamrita and Bhakti Rasamrita. But where does Updeshamrita come in? Now, if you all speak, you have to raise your hand. Yes, Matan? Yes, it is part of Stavamala. Stava means glorification. Mala means in the form of a garland. So there are many compositions, many verses of glorification in Stavamala. One of them is Updeshamrit. So that's where Updeshamrit is. Okay. Okay. Next statement. Somebody can read from the preface. Take the mic.
The Bengali Vaishnavas or Bengali Vaishnavas are mostly followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of whom the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana are direct disciples.
Okay. So Prabhupada, you have to see Prabhupada's preface is very systematic. He says the Gaudiya Vaishnavas or Bengali Vaishnavas. Now this word Gaudiya actually has come from Gaur. Gaur is who? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gauriya hai. Okay. But in Sanskrit, when you join these words, then because of the Sandhi, it becomes Gaudiya. Are you getting this point? And these Gaudiya Prabhupada says or Bengali Vaishnavas. Now, Mahaprabhu's followers were principally in two places. Which were the two places? Who said that? Okay, yes, Mataji. Bengal and Orissa is one region. Which is the second region? South India, interesting. During Mahaprabhu's time, tell me. Navdeep, that's again part of Bengal. Vrindavan. During Mahaprabhu's time, Mahaprabhu's followers were principally in these two places, which is Bengal and Oriya. His associates, eternal associates, they were all in this region, mostly Bengal and Oriya and Vrindavan. And Mahaprabhu himself directed some of his personal associates to go to Vrindavan. Who were they? Before the 6 Goswamis, Loknath Goswami and Bhugarva Goswami, they were the first to come to reveal Vrindavan. And then the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So, although Mahaprabhu's associates, eternal associates, wrote about Mahaprabhu's, about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but they more wrote about the life of Mahaprabhu. And these compositions were mostly in Bengal. But the Goswamis, have you come across any of the works of Goswami where somewhere they have written pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? They have not even referred to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's only they're writing about whom? Lord Krishna. Radha and Krishna, you can say. But it is Lord Krishna. Only in the Mangala Charan there is mention of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was presented by the Goswamis. So that's why although Prabhupada is saying these Bengali Vaishnavas, they are followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, But the 6 Goswamis are the direct disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That means if you are a follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to follow whom? 6 Goswamis. Are you getting this point? So I'm just presenting here that we have these 4 sampradayas. The Brahma Sampradaya, the Sri Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya, and the Kumbhar Sampradaya. So in the Brahma Sampradaya, Madhvacharya is one of the chief acharyas. In the Sri Sampradaya, it is Ramacharya. In the Rudra Sampradaya, it is Vishnu Swami. And the Kumar Sampradaya is Nimbarkacharya. So we are not a 5th Sampradaya. We are a sub-branch of the Madhu Sampradaya. But because we follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our worship is not only Krishna, but it is Radha and Krishna, we are a sub-branch of the Madhva Sampradaya. That's why we are called as the Madhva, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. And it is not a 5th Sampradaya, but it is the essence of all the 4 Sampradayas. Okay? This is just in brief. Okay? Now, next statement, read. Who has the mic?
ऊपर अगर नाक पड़े हटे अपनी कभी हम बुझा को stay user अपनी. When I am eager to understand the literature given by the Swamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental loving affairs of Radha.
Now, please, as you study Prabhupada's books, one has to scrutinizingly study. Prabhupada, after the second statement, he says what? Therefore. Therefore means what? Prabhupada is concluding a discussion. So, if that's why you want to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to follow 6 Goswamis. And what it means to follow the 6 Goswamis, Prabhupada is giving the conclusion here. And the conclusion is Rupa Raghunatha Pade Habe. Okay. That means you should take shelter of the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath. Rupa Raghunath refers to all the 6 Goswamis. Please remember that. Now, what it means to take shelter of Rupa and Raghunath or the 6 Goswamis, what it means? What does it mean? Raise your hands. We are going a little slowly, systematically, so that you can get tuned to the discussion and then we will take momentum. Little. Yes, Mataji.
Their teachings.
Yes. To take shelter of their lotus feet means to study their literatures. So when we study the literatures given by Goswamis, we are actually sitting at their lotus feet. Please remember this. Prabhupada tells this in one lecture. And when you start following the instructions given in those literatures, you actually start serving the lotus feet. Are you getting this point? If you read the literatures given by Rupa and Raghunath, you are sitting at their lotus feet. And when you start following the instructions given in those literatures, then you start serving their lotus feet. And that similarly applies for Srila Prabhupada books. Okay. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is Bhakta Pada Juli Ar, Bhakta Pada Jal, Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha, Tini Mahabal. The dust of the feet of the devotee, Bhakta Pada Duli, the water that has washed the feet of the devotee, Ar Bhakta Pada Jal, and the remnants of food left by the devotee, Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha, are 3 powerful substances. Tina Maha. So Bhakta Pada Duli, Bhakta Pada Jala, and Bhakta Bhukta Avash. So what is the 4th one now? Who will tell? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. Which is the 4th one? Yes, Guruji.
The teachings of Third Goswami or our previous Acharya.
Yes, the literatures. So this is the literatures given by the Goswami. This is the 4th one. Okay. So now you can see Prabhupada in this 3 statements has given the entire Guru Shishya Parampara. Okay. I'll show you here. Okay. So what is the Guru Shishya Parampara? It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. And then who are there? 6 Goswamis. Correct? Why this is not so clear. Yeah. The 6 Goswamis. Correct? And after that is who? After the 6 Goswamis is who? In the Parampara, Prabhupada is given. Yeah, but here in the preface, Narottam Das Thakur. Of course, then all will come. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and then Srila Prabhupada will come, and then all of you here sitting in the Parampara. So, how many of you would like to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Raise your hands. Sure. You're all sure? Okay, to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what you have to do? Raise your hands now. No. Please raise hand. No, we'd like to. Okay, 1, 2, 3. But so many had raised their hands before. Yes, Mataji, what you have to do?
6 Goswamis,
Following the 6 Goswamis is what?
their teachings.
To read their literatures first. Yes. Okay. So you have to come. And the 6 Goswami literatures are given by whom? Srila Prabhupada. So we have to study Upadeshamrita and Bhakti Rasamrita. Of course, Orthodox also will come to that. So I hope you got the entire Guru Shishya Parampara here, right? Okay. Okay, I'll read this. Okay. Quotes. And Prabhupada says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to bestow upon human society the benediction of the science of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared why? To give the benediction on the science of Krishna. Power is gone, what? It is coming. Voltage is low. Okay, the fans work on. So, Prabhupada is saying Mahaprabhu came in human society to bestow the science of Krishna. So, Prabhupada is using the term science. So, today, actually, the whole world is following the philosophy of science. And what is the philosophy of science? That life comes from matter. That is our philosophy. But the science outside says life comes from matter. So Prabhupada is saying Mahaprabhu has come to give the science of Krishna. So it is a science. Bhakti Tattva it is. It is a science. And what does Prabhupada in the Nectar of Devotion title? What does he give the title? No, he says the complete science. The complete science of devotional service. So bhakti is a science. It's a philosophy. So the whole world runs on philosophy. Please understand this. Everyone has his own philosophy. If you have a philosophy that eat, drink, and enjoy, who has seen life after death? So based on this philosophy, you live a life. So what dictates, our living, our principles is what? Philosophy. So we follow the philosophy of what? Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Bhakti Tattva, Bhagavad Tattva, Bhagavad Siddhanta. So that's why Prabhupada said it is science of Krishna. The most exalted of all activities of Lord Krishna are his pastimes of conjugal love with the gopis. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the mood of Srimati Radharani, the best of the gopis. So Mahaprabhu came with the Kanti and the Bhava of Srimati Radharani. And the internal reasons are given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Will not go into it. Therefore, again Prabhupada is saying now therefore. That means he is concluding these two statements. To understand the mission of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and follow in his footsteps, one must very seriously follow in the footsteps of the six Goswami, Sri Rupa, Sanatana, Bhatta Raghunatha, Sri Jiva, Gopala Bhatta, and Dasa Raghunath. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in the human society, give the benediction of the science of. And what is that science? Who will answer? Raise your hands. Let us see if you have got it. Within these three statements, Krishna Prabhupada gives the science. What is that science? Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Prabhupada is saying the science is the most exalted activity of Krishna with the gopis. And these activities is what? It is what? Science. It is science. Please understand, it's very, very profound what Prabhupada is trying to say. One time I gave a talk in one industry. It was a big company. And I gave a very basic Bhagavad Gita talk. And one of the persons after the talk came and started asking me some lofty questions. Lofty means from his perspective, it is not lofty, but they are lofty questions about Krishna's dealings with the gopis. So I had to explain in a scientific way that you cannot use these terms. If you want, you can use the term fire, heat, and light. Because wherever there is fire, there is heat and light. And fire associating with heat and light, there's no problem because it is part of fire. Right? So the highest science is Krishna's conjugal affairs with the gopis. So Mahaprabhu has come to give that. And that is why if you want to understand the science, what you have to do? What you have to do? Raise your hands. What you have to do? Yes, Mataji. One must very seriously follow the footsteps of the saints. Otherwise, you will not be able to enter into the science if you don't seriously follow. Especially the first verse. Everything will become clear with the first verse. How much you are able to follow goes from this first verse. It takes years and years, to control these Vegas. That's why I said every year you have to study Desha. Okay, so now paragraph 2. Okay, give the mic next. Please read.
Sri Rupa Goswami was the leader of all the Goswamis, and to guide our activities, he gave us this Deshamani, the nectar of instruction to follow.
Read next.
As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left behind him the 8 verses known as Shikshashtaka, Rupa Goswami gave us Deshamrit so that we may become your Vaishnavas.
Okay. So this is paragraph 2. Now, there are 6 Goswamis, right? And who is the senior most among the 6 Goswamis? Sanatana Goswami, right? And who is the spiritual master of Rupa Goswami? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sanatana Goswami is also considered as, because he's the elder brother, right? But yet, it is Rupa Goswami who is considered as the leader of the 6 Goswamis. Now, my question to you all, why is Rupa Goswami considered as the leader of the 6 Goswamis, and why not Sanatana Goswami? Who would like to throw some light this? Sanatana Goswami is elder brother of Rupa Goswami and is the spiritual master of Rupa Goswami. Yet, Rupa Goswami is considered as the leader of the 6 Goswamis. Why? What is the reason? Mike, in the mind. Okay. Anyone would like to share?
Maybe because Goswami is the chief Manjari, Shri Manjari, and because he's empowered by Chaitanya to enhance the Shridaras.
The Goswamis are also Manjaris, other Goswamis.
So he's the chief Manjari.
Yeah, that's also true. But still,
Just fact.
yeah, it's quite a good try. Any other thoughts anyone else has? Why Rupa Goswami is considered as a leader of the 6 Goswamis? Yes. Yes, Mataji. You can.
She raised that.
Okay.
Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was the one who understood the thought of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam, that's the reason. Okay, fine. Mataji, what do you have to share? Same answer. Okay. Now please try to understand, Tattva. Okay. Rupa Goswami is called as Rasacharya, right? Now, who is our Sambandhacharya? Sanatana Goswami. Who is the Abhidaya Acharya? Oh, interesting.
Oh, sorry. Which one is that?
Who is the Abhidaya Acharya?
Rupa.
Rupa Goswami. And who is the Prayojana Acharya? Raghunath Das Goswami. Who is the Siddhanta Acharya? Who is the Siddhanta Acharya? Jiva Goswami. You should know these basics. Now, Sanatana Goswami's work, Brihad Bhagavatamrit. Everyone have heard of Brihad Bhagavatamrita? Which is our deity, Sambandha deity? Madan Mohan. He is called as the attracting deity, Cupid, who attracts our heart. And then there is the Govindev, who engages in service. And then there is a Gopinath, engaging in the pastimes of Radha. Right? Sambandha Abhidaya and Prayojan deities are there. Okay, now please try to understand this. Why Rupa Goswami is considered as leader? Because he's Rasacharya, as it is pointed out. But let me explain this. Now, Sanatana Goswami is the Sambandhacharya because he establishes our relationship with Krishna. It's like, creating the field. For any activity, there has to be a field. Now we take the example which is very relevant to all of you, that is the cricket field. What is that called? Stadium, right? Now for a cricket match to happen, there has to be a stadium, there has to be a field, right? Kshetra, right? Now, what is most important? The field has to be there, but there has to be what? There have to be activities in the field, right? The batsman, the bowler has to play. Then there is exchange. Then there is what? Rasa. The spectators are enjoying rasa. Na? Everyone goes for rasa there, right? Yes or no? A different kind of rasa. So similarly, actually, Radha and Krishna perform their activities, right? But there is a field required. Yes? And that field is represented by whom? Sanatan Goswami. But the activities, we engage in the activities of devotional service. That literature is given by whom? And where do you get pleasure? Actually in Seva, right? Yes or no? So it is Rup Goswami, who is a Rasacharya, who actually engages the devotees in the service of Radha and Krishna. And that's where we get the mellows of devotional service. And that is why he's the leader. He's the chief manjari. But the reason I explained with respect to the field, I hope you could get it. Although Sanatana Goswami is the eldermost, he's senior, the field is required, but more important than the field is necessary, but there has to be activity in the form of exchanges where there is rasa. That's why Rupa Goswami is the rasacharya. Okay, is it clear? Now Prabhupada is almost equating Sri Rupa Goswami's Updeshamrit to what? Mahaprabhu's Shikshashtakam. That means you can understand how exalted is Sri Updeshamrit. He's saying, and Prabhupada says, Rupa Goswami gave us Updeshamrit so that we may become pure Vaishnavas. So by studying Updeshamrit, you will become pure Vaishnavas. So now the next paragraph is actually the introduction. Prabhupada only introduces the first verse of Updeshamrit, which is Vacho Viveka. So in the second paragraph, Prabhupada spoke about, the most exalted of Krishna's activities are his activities with the gopis. But to understand all that, where it all begins with control of the mind and the sense. So Prabhupada begins that, and he just gives introduction to the first verse of Updeshamrit, not an entire introduction to the entire Updeshamrit. In all spiritual affairs, one's first duty is to control his mind and senses. Unless one controls his mind and senses, one cannot make any advancement in spiritual life. Please read this statement loudly, all of us. Unless one controls his mind and senses, one cannot make any advancement in spiritual life. Prabhupada is saying blank, clear-cut statement. What? One cannot. So in all spiritual disciplines, be it Nastic or Astic, not in the Astic category, sorry, be it personalist or impersonalist, be it in the Buddhist tradition or in the Shankar Sampradaya, there is control of the mind and senses. Otherwise, they cannot make advancement in their discipline. So Prabhupada also makes that point here. Everyone within the material world is engrossed in the modes of passion and is everyone. One must promote himself to the platform of goodness, Satoguna, by following the instructions of Sri Rupa Goswami. So we are all engulfed in the modes of passion and so how to come to the platform of goodness? By following the instructions of Rupa Goswami. That means by following the instructions of Updeshamrit, one will come to the mode of goodness. And then Prabhupada says, and then everything concerning how to make further progress will be revealed. Revelation. Prabhupada is speaking about revelation. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. So if one is constantly meditating on the teachings of the acharyas, on the Bhaktivedanta purports, and one is sincerely doing that, Krishna will give inspiration and intuition and directive from within. But of course, it has to be confirmed from Guru and Sadhu. Tesham eva anukampartam aham ajnanajatama nashayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena. Okay. So what happens is by controlling the 6 Vedas gradually, when we come in Krishna consciousness movement, we are told to eat up till our neck because that will help us to make progress. But if we want to start making progress, we have to have what? Jiva Vegam. Without Jiva Vegam, we cannot make any advancement. We'll come to that in the first verse. We'll discuss in detail. Okay. So when one controls the 6 urges, one gets a very clear insight. And then one is inspired from within. Tadami Buddhino. So then how to make progress? Through Guru and Sadhu and Shastra can make. So that's why Prabhupada is saying everything will be revealed how to make further progress. Okay. Last paragraph. Now, Prabhupada spoke about what everyone in this material world is engrossed in the modes of passion and ignorance. I'm just introducing this concept of the 3 modes. Now, how actions happen in the 3 modes? A person in the mode of goodness first will contemplate and then he will act. A person in the mode of passion first he'll do the action and then he'll contemplate. Hey, what did I do? In the mode of ignorance, one neither contemplates or nor he can act. And the classic example is, which I myself have also seen, suppose you are sitting in a theater. Suppose if you have gone to watch a Mahat or Narsimha movie, then it's okay. You're sitting in the theater and suddenly there is a fire. Fire. The fire breaks out. Immediately what will happen? There's a huge chaos and people start running to the back door. But there is a alarm and a warning and somebody announces, oh, there is a exit door near the end of the screen. There is one more exit door. Please use that. But because of the panic, what happens? People just follow the mob and they start running. But because the fire is on that backside only, where the entry to the theater is there, they have closed it. Right? So generally in the mode of passion, what happens is we don't contemplate and we just act. But a person on the mode of goodness sattva, he will just hear, he will just observe, and then he will act. Whereas a person in the ignorance, he neither knows whether to go this side or that side, he's just stuck. So these are modes which are psychological forces which are acting in our mind. And that's why this influence is very, very powerful in this world. And that's why Prabhupada is explaining, how our, modes work, So we saw the actions in 3 modes. So person in the mode of goodness will contemplate and then he will act. Okay. This is the last paragraph. I'll just take a few minutes and we'll end. Advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. I told you on this statement, we had 6 classes. So we'll just again repeat the statement. Advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. Now, what is attitude? Actually, attitude is buddhi or a perspective. Are you getting this point? I will explain it. Give me some time. Attitude is what? Our buddhi or our perspective towards things. Is it clear? I'm sure it is a little difficult to digest this, but I'll give you some examples so it will become clear. Let me finish this. A follower of the Krishna conscious movement should become a perfect Goswami. Perfect Goswami means one who has controlled his
Sex.
Vedas. Okay. There's no control of senses here. That is the path of Jnana and Ashtanga. Shama and Dama are limbs of what? Ashtanga. What are the limbs of Bhakti? What are the limbs of Bhakti which we practice? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. 9 limbs. Is there any Shama and Dama there? No, no. But we'll come to that, why it is here. Okay. In Vrindavan, this is the title by which the director of each temple is known. One who wants to become a perfect devotee of Krishna must become a Go means the senses and Swami means the master. That means you read the statement from the opposite side here. If you are not a Goswami, can you become a devotee? Perfect devotee? No. Unless one controls his sense and minds, one cannot become a Goswami. So if you are not a Goswami, then can you become a perfect devotee? To achieve the highest success in life by becoming a Goswami, read Prabhupada's statement, and then a pure devotee of the Lord. That means it is not the highest thing to become a Goswami. After becoming a Goswami, one has to become a pure devotee. And to become a pure devotee, one has to follow Rup Goswami's Updesha. One must follow the instructions known as Updeshamrit, which is given by Srila Rup Goswami. Okay, I was mentioning advancement in Krishna consciousness means what? Perspective or buddhi. So here you can see this glass, is it full or is it empty? It is full. Are you able to see? It is empty. So it's empty, and if you're saying what you're saying, it is empty, it is realism. Right? But if you say, although it is empty, it is full, it is not optimism, it is stupidism. And if it is empty, saying it is empty is, it's not pessimism, it is realism. Okay? Now, a patient goes to the doctor and the doctor diagnoses and says, you have cancer. And the patient says, no, I'm perfectly fine. This is not realism, this is stupidism. Having accepted the reality and then working on it is optimistic. Are you getting this point? So similarly, when Krishna says yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, 8.6 in the Bhagavad Gita. So smaran bhavam means what is my bhavana? What is my consciousness? What is my attitude towards this world? What is my attitude towards the things? Everything. That is the perspective. That will determine where you will go. So that is why your aptitude, they say, right? It's not your aptitude. What determines your altitude? What is that statement? Anyone knows? Your attitude and not your aptitude determines your altitude. Did you get this point? Okay, it's your attitude. Okay. So there is a famous, I don't know whether it's true story. Bata company had sent a representative to Africa, find out if there is a market for us to sell slippers. And he came back, he said, nobody wears slippers, everyone is barefoot. So there is no chance we can open a showroom there. So he gave his perspective, he gave a particular report. But they sent another manager. He said, nobody wears slippers here. There is a full market. So it's dependent on the attitude. Okay. A follower of Krishna conscious movement should become a perfect Goswami. Vaishnavas are generally known as Goswami. In Vrindavan, this is the title by which the director of each temple is known. One who wants to become a perfect devotee of Krishna must become a Goswami. We have read this. Yeah. Sri Rupa Goswami has given many other books such as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vidaka Madhava, Lalit Madhava, but Upadeshamrit constitutes the first instruction for neophyte yogis. And we should remember that even after 10-15 years in the movement, we are still neophytes. Neophytes means we are still in upper KG and lower KG. We have not still entered the school of Bhakti. From Golok Vrindavan perspective, we are still what? We are in kindergarten. Okay. So, I was mentioning the science of rasa, right? In terms of cricket match. Upadesh Amrit is a summary of rasa. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is the complete science of rasa. And Vidakta Madhav and Lalita Madhav is rasa in action. Okay. So for us to enter into Vidakta Madhav and Lalita Madhav is not easy because it is Kavya Shastra. You have to understand Sanskrit. You cannot appreciate it. But for us, the most important books are Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Upadesh. Understanding the summary of rasa and the complete science of rasa. Okay. One should follow the instructions very strictly. Then it will be easier to make one's life successful. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada wrote this on September 20, 1975. He completed this on the Vishwaroop Mahotsav. That is also the day when Prabhupada took sannyas. That week we celebrate. So in the Krishna Balaram Mandir, Raman Riti, Vrindavan. Okay. So that completes our preface. So I mentioned preface mentions the purpose why the author has given book. To understand the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and follow his instructions, one should follow the six Goswamis. He is the leader of the Goswamis to guide the activities he has given Updeshamrit. And to come to the platform of goodness, we have to follow Updeshamrit, where further progress will be revealed. And to become a Goswami and then a pure devotee, one must follow the instructions of Vishnu. So this is the purpose in the preface why Prabhupada has given us Desh. Okay. So any questions you have, any clarifications about the preface related to the topic what we discussed?
Related to the nectar of
Regarding the preface?
Related to preface, but how I should be studying that because I like feeling after the first class that it is really going to be tough for me. So if you can tell like what I should be doing to at least understand this.
You should not be doing anything. You have to just sit with the book and hear. You have to hear, that's it. And it takes time. Vidya kalena pachati. What does it mean? Vidya kalena pachati. Just like you eat food, how much time it takes to digest? Minimum 3 hours. And if you drink pure milk, it takes 19 hours. So we are studying Updeshamrit. It will take a few years. That's it. So you have to be patient. So you'll get prepared for the exam. Okay. Don't worry so much about the exam. The exam anyone can pass. But you have to understand the science of Updeshamrit. That's important. Exam also will be taken care, not to worry. So we have given you these sheets. Please get the sheets from tomorrow. As part of your exam, you are supposed to only recite and memorize 4 verses, correct? Yes or no? But you'll be memorizing all the 11 verses with us. We will do that every day. Within 2 weeks, we'll become thorough. Okay? These are the 11 verses. Please get this sheet also and keep it in your book. Okay. Any other clarifications? Anyone else have? Okay. शिव उपदेशामृत की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, ग्रंथ कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।